Hello folks and welcome back to Cold Bore Contraptions Reloading Room. Today I'm going to take a few minutes to show you some of the things that I've done to my Lee ACP. I initially purchased this ACP for the sole purpose of priming brass pre-hand before loading it into the Lee Loadmaster. I absolutely despise the Lee Loadmaster's prime on the upstroke priming device. I found it unreliable. It's the only thing about that press that is unreliable at this point. I just couldn't live with it. So I purchased a Lee ACP. They're $90. They prime fast. You can buy a case speeder for these things from Lee. Consists of the tube system that they use on all their presses, basically the 1000, the Loadmaster, all of them. I quit using that type of case feeder quite some time ago. I am now feeding this Lee ACP as well as my Lee Loadmaster with the Hornady case feeder that I took off my ammo plant. So I just thought I'd show you a couple things here that I did to make the Lee ACP work a little smoother for me and a little more efficient. First and foremost, I'm using a Hornady case feeder rather than the little plastic tube deal. One thing I'm going to say, I don't care what case feeder you're using. If you want to keep up with the ACP, look into the double alpha case plate here. This thing it's 10 times faster than any case plate. I don't care if it's Dillon. I don't care if it's Hornady. That thing is amazing, and you need it to keep up with this thing. I mean, it just, as fast as you can pull the handle, it's going to deprime, it's going to swage, and it's going to prime. And that's primarily the only thing I do with this press, and it does all of those things really well. So the case feeder is a big deal. Right now I'm set up for large. I'm going to do some 45 ACP here. I machined this little bushing out of a piece of PVC. This is a piece of 1/2-inch stainless steel fuel line or hydraulic line cover. And then it leads down to this little device. So this thing here is kind of cool. When you use their case feeder system, Lee's case feeder system, you're all the time making adjustments to this part of the feeder. So I built this. It's a piece of billet aluminum, piece of billet square stock, and a 4-inch all threaded grade 8 bolt. So what I've done is, rather than make my adjustments back here, this is right now set up for 45 ACP. I can just loosen this knob and set it for 308 or anything in between. And that's as far as I go with this. 45 ACP and 308 is really the only thing. I guess I do some 260, but same as 308, right? So this thing has helped a lot. And I have the same setup for small, so I can do anything from 308, 308 9mm, 300 blackout, 223. So this is pretty handy. And all this is a piece of PVC adapted. It's got a bushing here. It adapts this spring to the inside or the outside diameter of the inside diameter of this. So it's adjustable infinitely for whatever case you're feeding. Another little quick tip is, on some of these pushers, this edge is just a little too stiff or a little too sharp. So what I did was I sanded this down and gave it a nice bevel around there. What it'll do is it'll keep your brass from jamming up against here. You can set this height and get it pretty good, but sometimes it just wanted to snag on this corner. So I just beveled this off so that the brass would ride up over it a little bit easier. So when you're depriming, Lee gives you this little device here. It's a catch bottle and a nut to lock this on the bottom of the press here and catch your primers. I've never used anybody's bottle type primer catcher. I always like to have a hose. I fill a bucket with primers, sort of like a trophy collection of spent primers, right? So to adapt this ACP over, I just took a piece of 1-inch aluminum. I threaded it 7/8 by 14, and if I can get that off there, cut it into a funnel, just like that. So with the hose on there, I can just screw it on the bottom, and feed all my primers into the bucket of primers. So I'll dump a few rounds of 45 ACP in the brass feeder. We'll turn that on. Get our tube filled up. I'm going to let that run. It's a little noisy. When it fills up, I'll show you how it works. So I've filled the spring up. I'm going to turn the case feeder off just to avoid the noise. I've adjusted the height of this feed tube, and it's just this quick for depriming. Oh, there we got a jam. Looking at this, I can see what happened. I bet anything there's a 9mm case stuck inside of there. Oh, maybe a 40. Yeah, sure shit. 40 Smith & Wesson stuck in there. Missed that one, I guess. I'll have to readjust that height and we'll continue. So if you miss a 40 or a 9 or a 25, well, 25 and a 45, you probably get to break something. If you miss one of those in your separation, you're going to get a jam up because of the height. So there you have it. I mean, it's just that quick. It does the priming that quick. It does the swaging that quick. Now these 45 ACP don't need some of the swaging, but I have run across some military 9mm that's needed swaged, and it does a great job on 223 and 308 brass that needs swaged. So this system really seems to work good for me, and it gets the primers in before I take them over to the lead load master. On 9mm stuff, really anything I run through that load master at this point, I will not use their priming system. Just one more thing before I wrap up the Lee ACP. So their priming and depriming systems come, and you can leave the priming feeder in it. When you buy the swage, it is actually round the whole way around. What I did was I took this apart and I milled this flat, just like if you look at either the depriming or the primer, they have a machine flat in them so that they'll clear this feeder system for the primers. All you need to do is mill that flat and, you know, pay attention, size it to where it needs to be. But if you mill that anvil flat, you don't have to take the depriming or the priming feeder out of the ACP to install the swage die. Just a quick tip, it's pretty easy to do. You don't have to do it in a milling machine. I'm sure you could do it with a Dremel tool and a flat file. But that's another quick tip for the ACP. So that wraps up what I've done to the ACP. I have installed it on the Hornady quick change plate system. It seems to work good for that. This thing works pretty smooth now. I mean, bar having an odd case stuck inside of another case. But I like it. It works good. Thanks for watching, guys. Just some more tips and tricks for you. Appreciate your time.